Well, the women have made it all the way to Elimination Chamber. Now the men have to do it, and we have to talk about WrestleMania. And, I mean, we could talk about a heel turn. I know what we think next.
I am in misery. Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones, I'm losing it all. Stuck in my head, I am in misery. Deep inside myself, all I get, my only family. Stuck in the grave, can someone rescue me? I'm burning alive, I got it, I am in misery.
Welcome back to the second part of the Unreal documentary series with the Taking Over team. I'm, of course, OLED and Fries, joined as always by The Natural. The Natural's going to be a little less excited tonight because, of course, we're pretty much done talking about women for the show.
No, okay.
So now we have to talk about the men, which, you know, they don't get nearly enough coverage, so, you know, it is.
Yeah.
We got Zach telling us it's National Chili Dog Day, so good for that. My girlfriend has thusly informed me that tomorrow is National Girlfriend Day, so yeah.
I wonder.
Today's also our 7-month anniversary, so I'm like, I think there are hints coming. So,
Oh.
and of course, I'm spending National Girlfriend Day at a wrestling show without her. So, yes, I am indeed the king of romance. National Girlfriend Day, it's your anniversary. What are you doing? Talking about wrestling and going to a wrestling show. Sounds about right.
Sure.
Wrestling fans, why are we ever single? I don't understand. All right. Episodes 4 and 5. There's a lot here. Most of episode 4 could essentially just be talking about the heel turn. Like, there's a large portion of it that's not about the John Cena heel turn. But essentially, this is a very long way of getting to the heel turn. Yeah, pretty much. That is indeed the truth. So this is where we get a lot of talk about The Rock. There's also a lot of talk about Cody here, which I enjoyed because the last time WWE did a documentary series about The Rock and Cody Rhodes, Cody came out looking like an absolute fucking jabroni. Do we not remember last year when they produced that documentary about, remember the one that they did about WrestleMania when Cody didn't win the championship and he walked away and then came back for the match? And it made Cody look like the stupidest man in the world because he turned down his Royal Rumble victory. All to do the Las Vegas press conference. Oh yeah. And it made The Rock look like this great, huge thing. Oh yeah. We'll talk about it after the fact. But anyways, there's a lot of fun here where they didn't really know where they were going when they started building to this Cody selling his soul. Like, we see a scene in the writer's room where they're kicking around ideas about how do we end the Elimination Chamber with a bang? I mean, the obvious answer was you do John Cena, Cody in the earlier in the day to open the show, and you let the women close the show, and that's a pretty big bang to close the show. But I mean, I guess that wasn't on the table. So, since the women since apparently the women had no way of main eventing the show, we should talk about other alternatives, I guess. So, as we all said at the time, this seemed like a weird segment, and these guys seem to understand that too. Hello, Millie. Thank you for joining us at the beginning of the show tonight. So everybody here seems to understand that this is a weird situation to find themselves in. And there were apparently 3... Yes, we are taking over Thursday.
Pretty much.
Bobby, we're taking over everything. We're not even going to let Bring Respect Radio go on the air tonight. Okay, you go pre-record PPW stuff. So they talk about multiple options. One of The Rock's apparent options was to have... Yeah. So,
I was gonna say hamster.
I was gonna say he has the hamster control, so he can control my little hamster car. Because I drive a Kia Soul. For anybody that doesn't know, and the marketing for this car when it first came out was little hamsters driving the car because it's an itty bitty thing.
I thought he meant hamsters in the internet joke that SCG makes. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. No, it's by the way, it's Mike the Ref who makes the internet joke mostly.
That's it.
All right, that's it. He can't take it. He's out of here. Bye, Bobby. See you in like an hour when we're trying to finish, and your Papa Smokes are trying to go live. So The Rock brings in, obviously, if The Rock's here, then that means Brian. For those who don't remember, Brian Gewirtz was a key writing figure for some of the bigger opportunities in WWE. He was writing during, if I remember correctly, he said he was a writer on staff for 98 from 90 to 2002. Then he was a writer for Raw, I believe, from 2002 to 2015.
Yeah, he said he was a writer from 1999 to 2015, and then from 2002 to 2012, he was the head writer.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we all know Brian Gewirtz. He's written a book. He can be widely believed on a variety of topics. He's not a gospel source, but he's a very reliable source. He's very close with The Rock, always has been, always will be. And he is literally the creative for The Rock. Whenever The Rock can't be there, Brian will be there with whatever the concerns of The Rock are. And to the most part, he seems like a decent guy. From everything we've ever heard, he seems like a half-decent guy. So we get the whole talk about what do we do, and their idea is to have Cody Rhodes join The Rock and beat down John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H seems hesitant to do it. He's like, all right, it makes sense, sort of. But Triple H doesn't want to turn Cody heel. So, because we go back to episode 1 when we're talking about WrestleMania 40 when he won the championship, and there's that conversation about now I'm the white meat babyface, and he's like, we ride it till the wheels fall off. As much as people go back and forth on Cody Rhodes, the wheels haven't fallen off the white meat babyface Cody Rhodes just yet.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So the other idea was apparently Cody turns down The Rock. The Rock makes a match. Kevin Owens comes out for an impromptu championship match and defeats Cody Rhodes to become the champion less than just over a month out from WrestleMania, and it'll be Kevin Owens versus John Cena. Now, in isolation, taking everything else that we all know out of the equation, that would have been amazing. Like,
right? I love
Kevin Owens versus John Cena. Like, instantly, I'm like, really? That was an option? Because I choose that. I like that option.
Yep.
Because that's still a John Cena match that we're now never going to get. Because Kevin won't be back in time by the end of the year, which means I don't think it's ever happened before as a singles match. They've tagged together, but I don't think they've ever wrestled each other. Oh, they have. Of course they have. John Cena Open Challenge. Yeah, John Cena Open Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens call up to the main roster. I forgot. How did I?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. How did I forget that?
I was about to say, wasn't there a U.S. Open challenge that he answered at one point?
Yeah, and he beats up John Cena and steps on the U.S. title and holds up the NXT Championship aloft. Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the greatest debut for any NXT talent on the main roster ever. to this day, it's still the best one. So that was option 2, which they again decided not to go with, which is fine when they apparently settle on. Well, what if John Cena turns heel? And again, in the infamous controls of who said what, Triple H doesn't know, says talk to Bruce. Bruce, of course, being Bruce Pritchard, says, well, of course it's my idea. It's a good one. And Ed Koskey just shuts up and says, I think Bruce said it, because he knows where his bread is buttered and wants to continue having a job. So those 3 now know. This is the idea we want to go with. So now they start pitching it to people. And I love this portion because this is really good. Triple H, and they bring up this really cool graphic where they have Triple H in the middle. And they have like lines going around in a box. And they're like, these are the 5 people that we're going to talk to. Now, never mind, we've already told 2 people what we're doing. These are the 5 people that are going to know, and nobody else is going to know. And I'm like, well, Rock is going to tell Brian Gewirtz, so that's another guy who's going to know. Because he's The Rock's creative, so he has to know. You've already told Koski and Bruce, so that's another 2. So that's 3 on top of the 5 we're about to talk about. The first is obvious. We have to tell Nick Khan. Makes sense. This is a business decision that could result in millions of dollars in lost sales for merchandise. You have to talk to the money guy and the CEO of the company. So it makes sense that you tell Nick. Nick, again, doesn't like to stick his oar in creative. He'll fire people with reckless abandon. But he doesn't. But it's the one thing we can say about Nick Khan. He seemingly doesn't care about creative as long as the money works. He's there to make sure the book is balanced and about it. So he says it's a great idea. I love it. Go for it. So then Triple H talks to The Rock. Which at this point I'm like, shouldn't we talk to John Cena about this first? Like, he's the one he's the one turning heel. At some point we should talk to Cena, right? All right,
like, what if Cena said no? Then what was the point of telling The Rock to begin with?
Yeah, what is going to have any of these people if John Cena's not willing to be on board?
Yeah, what if Cena had said no? That would have been like, never mind, cancel everything I just told you.
So we'll skip that for now. We'll go to the next step. So they talk to The Rock. And apparently The Rock just sits there and goes, uh-huh. 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 And I love this quote from Triple H. She's like, I don't know if he's yesing me to death to be like, get to the point, or if he's yesing me to death because he hates everything I'm saying. And then The Rock goes, I love it. It's great. And apparently they spend 30 minutes with The Rock spitballing more ideas about what to do and how to make this work. But he's on board. So that's 2 out of 5. So obviously the next call is to John Cena. No.
Right.
We're going to call Travis Scott.
This order just pissed me off, to be honest.
It not only did it piss me off that we called Travis Scott third, it pissed me off that we called Travis Scott period. Like, Travis Scott is a day of, by the way, this is what's going on. We sit down in a room between him, Cena, Cody, and The Rock, and we just sit Travis Scott down and talk to him. This is a day of thing. This is not a we call you weeks in advance to lay this out to you. But Travis Scott says he loves it and he's in because his opinion vastly matters to me and anybody else. Sounds about right. So now we obviously have to call John Cena, right? Like, we have to talk. We talked to Travis Scott, who's vitally important. We've talked to The Rock. We talked to Nick Khan. So we must call Cena, right? No, we got to talk to Cody Rhodes first because apparently Cody Rhodes gets back to Triple H. But at least he says gets back to me. Like at least like Triple H had sent Cody a message before Travis Scott apparently. So like that gives me a little bit of benefit of doubt that this isn't the biggest train wreck in the world. And Cody apparently says, "Wow, I didn't see that coming. This is interesting. I'm in." Because again, Cody loves all of this shit. Like this is right up Cody's alley. Like drama and storytelling and, you know, a heel turn. Like, this is stuff that I feel like Cody Rhodes would adore. So yeah, Cody's in. And then we get to John Cena. Finally, we get to John Cena. John Cena, the company man, so of course he's okay with it. Why bother contacting him first? Well, it's interesting you say that, Millie, because I don't know if you've seen the episode or not. But Triple H calls John, and he's like, John, I have this idea. And Triple H says John cuts him off at this point and goes, if you believe in this, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H says, with the line of the entire show, other than my daddy's a dancer, when talking to Libby about what Cody Rhodes does for a living. Triple H's next line of John Cena was apparently, and I quote, John, take the bullshit hat off. This is Paul Levesque talking to John Cena, the person. Okay, so you have it. Yeah, because John Cena's original response was, if you believe in it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So they talk about it for a little bit, and John's in. John agrees. And Triple H says, I get off the phone with him, and within 5 minutes, I have 3 texts from John Cena detailing various ways that this could go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, today has indeed been a day, Millie. I will agree with you. I told Ashton about my day earlier. It's been a day. What did you think of this whole interaction here? With what people thought and how invested people seem to have been?
Well, I like that this is something that before this really starts, they also talk about the baby faces versus heels. They give an explanation to what the heels are and what the baby faces are, and the storytelling there, and how there's different types of heels. Like basically introducing it to the people that are not the usual fans, so they can know what they're talking about before the heel turn even happens. So I like that they introduce it that way. They explain it to you, like, and they mention people that are heels, and they give you clips of like certain heels that we had in the industry, like a Roddy Piper and was the other one, The Rock at 1.2, Eddie also is another one. So I like that they introduce it that way before they even tell us about the Cena heel turn to begin with. This part about the creative process, I thought it was, like you said, it was funny thinking about how is Cena one of the last calls that you get. But even he said, it's like John Cena is the company guy that you'll tell him what it is and he'll say, I'm in, and that's what happened. It's just, to me, the order in itself. I get Nick Compy in the first call, but after that, I would have called Cena first and just make sure that he's okay to be good. But I like how he presented it to him, because he said, think about it from your standpoint as a human being first, because this affects you as somebody from doing Make-A-Wish. It affects your PR and your movies. I want to make sure it doesn't affect you outside of here before it even happens. So I like that there's thinking of the perspective outside of the WWE bubble, how it will connect back to Cena before it even happens. And I like how on top of them talking about the creative and writing process, they tell us he's like, this day and age is very hard to keep a secret. So when they did make this connection, they always make almost like a rectangle. They're like, oh, these are the only people that know about this. And we're going to keep
except the other people that we've already talked about.
Yeah. The other people that we talked about in here, they're basically a rectangle here, making connections. And they said, we're only going to talk, only the people that know about it here are the ones that know about it. But they didn't even tell production, because at one point the guy in the truck goes, I'm getting instructions now from Paul. I have to go this direction, point this out. And at that point, when the heel turn's happening at that moment, it's when Triple H goes, point at this person, point at that person, do a white shot here, do this, focus on Cena, focus on Cody. And he's giving all those instructions the way it is without even really saying what's going to happen. And I love that he didn't give any details to them. Even before preparing for it, everybody's in the chamber trying to go over how the match is going to go, like all the participants of the match itself before the heel turn. And even he says there's going to be an aftermath after the match itself. But he doesn't really tell anybody what's going on. And I'm glad, because you can tell how they were really, really waiting and wanting that surprise to happen, which really happens in wrestling nowadays.
Yeah, I was going to get back to the match and whatnot, because there's a lot of really good, interesting stuff in there, too. I love this. I love all of this. I love that we get this so far after this too. Like, if this had come out even after Cena had retired, I think it would have been even better. Because they asked Cena a question at some point during this, and he's talking, and he's like, I can't say anymore because, I don't want to spoil things for people. And I'm like, what else do you know, sir? What else do you know? Yeah. And he's like, and he asked the producer, like, is this answer good enough? And the guy's like, Well, are we going to get anything else? Because if not, it's fine.
Yeah.
So before we get back to the match, I want to talk about the Cena heel turn because I think that was the biggest thing we talk about in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
When they're listing off the heels, like you said, Dom, Rock, DiBiase. I love the DiBiase clip. It made my fucking golden age wrestling fan heart joyful watching Ted DiBiase kick. Have you ever seen that clip before of DiBiase kicking the ball?
Mm-mm.
So DiBiase, back in the day, DiBiase would do these things where he would do these challenges for people. And he would offer them large sums of money if they could do X random thing. And him and Virgil would always screw them right before they do whatever they're supposed to do so that he didn't have to pay out the money. And of course, the most famous one is the one they use here. There's a kid, and he's told to dribble a basketball 15 times. If you do it 15 times, we'll give you $500. Do you know how much money that is for a kid then? Like, remember, this is in the 90s. Like, this is early 90s, late 80s. So $500 is like a couple grand now.
Yeah.
And the kid bounces it, and they're counting along, and they get to 14, and DiBiase just kicks the ball away.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of my favorite clips of all time because it makes you understand, just watching that one clip, that this man is an evil bastard. Like, he's pure evil because he's broken this poor child's heart. I love that that's the scene they chose to use. It was so good.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero, Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan, the NWO. And again, the Hogan heel turn is legitimately, as much as we don't want to praise Hulk Hogan, one of the greatest heel turns in wrestling history. Like, him turning on WCW and being the third man, brother, is one of the biggest wrestling moments ever. Like, it's the catalyst of 83 weeks. It's the catalyst of the Monday Night Wars. It's everything about the battle in that time frame. It made pro wrestling the biggest thing in the world at that point. Wrestling will never be as big as it was then. It's more mainstream now, but it'll never be as big as it was when that NWO turned out. You get Michael Hayes, and we talked about this yesterday about him running the towns in Texas, and I had to sit down with Mama Fries and explain to her that Michael Hayes almost lost his life a couple times running those towns in Texas. And if Papa Smokes were here, I'd have him talk about this because I think he'd be great for this. Maybe one day I'll have to do that when we do a chaotic episode of Papa Smokes. We talk about the New Day heel turn. And we not only do we get to talk about it, we get Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston themselves talking about the heel turn. I'd have given my life for an hour of them talking that heel turn and everything that went into it, because I still can't wait for the fallout of that one.
I feel like there wasn't enough coverage of them, because I know they introduced this part about the heel turn, and I like how they give us a background to what New Day is. Again, I like that they, even though they know us fans will be watching this, they know that other people that are casually on Netflix will watch this as well. So they explain to you things in such a way that is very smoothly done. Like Xavier gives an introduction to what New Day is and their resume, how popular they are. I love the fact that he starts talking about the New Day rocks, and he's like, and then we turned here and they turn it back on us, like, oh, New Day sucks. He's like, this is such a thing that it's become so much bigger than what it is. And I like how not only does he give a background to what New Day is, but they jump over to the heel turn and Big E being there too. And I love this part so much, and I wish I would have done more in depth into them, because that's all we get from them in the whole episode here. And talking about the shirts and involving their families and the heel turn. And the way it's like, it's our 10th anniversary, you expect a celebration, and then you get this heel turn from us with Big E, because he's one of the most loved people in the wrestling community. So it had to be on somebody like him. And it was, I love the way they presented this to begin with.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get, this has all been recorded for a bigger thing down the road when we get the New Day DVD and documentary series when they're all said and done. And we get the full story, and we've seen the fallout. We get the three of them sitting down talking about it afterwards. Yeah, we get all of the different scenarios. We get Triple H explaining how the multiverse works, which I thought was a fun little thing here. As a Marvel fan, he compares it to Marvel, and I don't think he understands what the multiverse is based on his description.
No, I don't think so.
But it was still cool to see as a Marvel fan to see Triple H at least knows the word multiverse. although he did call it multi-universe, but you know, I'm almost certain he called it multi-universe, but it's fine.
I think so. Yeah.
So now let's talk about, because like I said, we've gone through all of the heel turn stuff with the Cena thing. We've gone through Triple H doing everything with the Elimination Chamber and calling everything post-match. The match itself. The producer for this match is Michael P.S. Hayes. And also Bobby Roode, apparently. I don't know why we needed two producers. Like, I understand why we need two producers for certain things, but, like, if you've got Michael P.S. Hayes, 30-year veteran, and you've got John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, like, no offense to Damian Priest and Logan Paul. Well, plenty of offense meant to Logan Paul. But, like, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, and Damian Priest. Like, when you have the other three guys in this discussion, you don't even need a producer other than to make sure that the corporate line goes. So you just need somebody to sit there for the company and be like, yeah, they haven't broken any ideas of what the company wants to do, so we're fine.
No, this part made me laugh because when they're in the circle with Hayes there, at one point, and then Punk is giving his ideas about the ending, and then how Rollins will do the stomp on him, and then Cena will take over for the victory part. I was wondering, who's that guy just hanging on from the barricade like the way he is? I was like, he's so
Logan
professional.
Paul.
I know, I didn't even recognize it. It was like, why is he sitting? Everybody just sitting in a circle. And he's just like basically almost on top of the barricade, just literally laying on top of it. And it's like, who would do that? And all of a sudden I turn around and see the blonde hair. I'm like, of course he had to be him.
So, I mean, Damian Priest isn't the most professional here, too, because he's standing behind everybody else, just sort of leering over everybody watching. Like I said.
Maybe not.
Did you guys lose me, or did I lose you guys?
I lost you for a moment there. But you're back.
Okay. You know, because basically, the guys doing all the talking here is Punk, Rollins, and Cena. And Hayes is adding his input, too. But I like how CM Punk's idea for the finish, like, he knows it's Cena going over, and he's like, all right, how do we make all of these stories work to Cena going over that makes everybody look good? Yep. Except for himself. But the way it plays out is the exact way CM Punk says it. He's like, Rollins, I do something to Rollins, Cena does something to Rollins, I fall into the pin, I pin Rollins, me and Cena are looking at each other, I get hit with the stomp, Seth's going out of the cage and just staring at me, John gets desperate, pulls me in, doesn't even AA me because he knows that can't work at this point because he's done it a few times, just goes ahead and hits the STF.
Yep.
And I remember watching the match and going, it was so weird that Cena won via submission. Because, like, you figure this is a crowning moment for Cena, he's going to use the AA. But no, like, Punk's description of he has to be desperate, he has to be frantic to take advantage of something like this, because John Cena, the good guy, would never do this. He would never take advantage of Seth's opportunity like that. But he needs that Mania opportunity. He needs that title match. So he's going to do whatever it takes to get it. I love it. I love everything about this discussion. And Michael's in, and Bobby Roode backstage producing it with Michael's in. And the match goes off without a hitch. And everybody comes back, and Michael Hayes is telling everybody what a great job they did. And everybody's happy. They do the aftermath stuff. It's fantastic. We're getting reaction shots of the crowd, of everybody losing their shit that John Cena turned heel. We get the reactors reacting, which I thought was really fun.
Yeah. You know what I wish I would have done when they show the people reacting, not the people in the arena because you don't know who they are, but the people that are online
Channel
to have their
names.
tags. Yeah, I'm like, I would like to see their names. It's like, obviously, I know some of them because they're from the community, but some of them I don't know. I'm like, if I like, I want to check them out, but I don't know who they are, and wish I would have put some sort of nameplate underneath them, or at least at the
That
top
first
somewhere.
that first couple is the one that I'm dying to figure out who they were.
Yes, me too. I wish I would have put either that or get them credit at the end of like, hey, the streamers, and they put a list of everybody that was there because I would have liked to know who they are. And there's no tag whatsoever anywhere.
Yeah, there was a little things they could have done there. I get that they didn't care enough to do it because they're not thinking about it from the fan base side. They're just thinking about,
Mhm.
this is great footage. We'll use this to go ahead and further, the story.
Mhm.
And again, it's not that they're stealing from creators because they're not. But it's not something they need to do, but it would have been nice if they would have done it.
Agree.
And then we get Cody coming back, and he's all bloodied because he's bloodied way more than I remember him being.
Yeah.
And they're talking to Cody, and Cody's, all great and whatnot. And then, like, the Rock comes back and Travis come back, and Cody's still out in the ring at this point. And they all do their stuff. And then Cody's there, and he gets a call from Travis Scott. And he's, like, talking to Travis. He's like, it's fine. You did great. I'm so proud of you. And even to this day, like, literally today, the Hot Ones episode with Cody Rhodes aired, and he was asked about the Travis Scott accident. And he's like, yeah, Travis popped my eardrum, and, his big-ass hand hit me way harder than I should have been. And he potatoed me. He's like, but I love Travis Scott. It's fine. It is what it is. It's no big deal. No harm, no foul. I have no ill will to him. Him bringing his fan base into wrestling is a good thing. And I'm like, yep, just waiting on a month. Nobody's going to think that in a month.
I think it's funny too because after everything happens, even after Mania, and then he just goes, "I love this. I mean, I even just like leave rap and just go do this." I'm like, well, that was short lived.
Yeah, because something's come up between him and the company apparently since, because he was supposed to be one of the DLC for the 2K25 video game. And now that character slot now goes to El Grande Americano. So Chad Gable gets to be in the game twice now. Because we have confirmation now that it's Chad Gable.
Perhaps.
No, we do. Chad Gable said in an interview with the Minnesota Twins, he said that I got my first singles victory at WrestleMania this year. Well, Chad Gable didn't wrestle on the WrestleMania card, but El Grande Americano got a singles victory at WrestleMania. Ha! Chad Gable was indeed El Grande Americano.
Mystery solved for now.
We then get to see in a press conference where he takes the microphone and just mic drops it and walks away. Which, by the way, was the perfect way to do that. You don't let that John Cena take questions. Not that night, not that opportunity. Like, you have to have him in front of the media. But under no circumstances should he give them any information. So the mic drop is the perfect way to finish this episode off. And then we go to episode 5. WrestleMania. What did you think of WrestleMania, the episode 5 WrestleMania episode?
I think one of the most interesting parts was the part about Charlotte here, which is something that I kind of figured it's what happened to her. And I mentioned it not too long ago, is that when the fans are booing her, it really gets to her. And she literally admits that in the documentary. She's like, there was one crowd in Chicago that was booing me, and it basically rattled me. And you can tell by her performance that it like really affected her in that sort of way. And this is what I mean. And like, I feel like she could do better on the mic in that aspect of it, because most of the time they're just booing Charlotte. They're not booing Ashley. There's two different people in that aspect of it. And I think she needs to recognize that, especially when you're going against Tiffany, who just got so popular on the main roster already. You're automatically the bad guy. People are going to want to boo you because you're going against Tiffany. I like how they go here behind the scenes of that part about the divorce line about the 0-3, because then Triple H is like, was that on the script? And they're like, no, basically the last part of it wasn't in the script at all. Tiffany just basically mentioned that. And he goes, well, tell her to apologize to Charlotte and had them go on the same page, because Charlotte's really upset right now by everything that happened. and just make them go on the same page for this match because they need to get on the same page.
Now, I need to interrupt you here because this is something I mentioned before about things being set up. I find something very interesting about this, and this is the one that really makes me wonder about things being set up. Triple H asked the question, was that supposed to be said? He has the conversation with the female writer who wrote the segment and Charlotte Flair. And they both agree that that wasn't it, and that the whole back end of that thing got ran off the rails. Because remember, the next line out of Charlotte is, then why is Kaiser in my DMs?
Yeah.
So Triple H says, all right, we got to get Tiffany to apologize. Go find Tiffany. Make sure she apologizes. So you would think the very next shot should have been Tiffany Stratton apologizes.
I was waiting for them.
It's not there. I think this part was dog and pony show. I don't think Charlotte cared whatsoever that line was in there. I think it was scripted. And I think it was scripted knowing they were being filmed for this documentary and that they knew this was going to be in there. And they do this whole dog and pony show because the only way you don't have Tiffany Stratton's apology is, one, she didn't apologize. If she didn't apologize, she sure as hell, number two, shouldn't win the WrestleMania match if she's not willing to apologize to Charlotte. And three, at that point, then the Charlotte should have been a whole lot more angry going into that match than she was. If she never apologized.
Not only what you said, because I was waiting for the apology to be in the next scene, but then to jump over a little bit, when they do show the WrestleMania match, they talk about like how they get prepared for it. The match happens. They get the direction. They ask about her teeth and everything. And even when she comes back, the curtain at Gorilla, Triple H is checking up on her. And he doesn't seem mad at her. He just seems like regular. He's like, oh, you killed it. I used your teeth. And she's like, oh, no, they were fake. He's like, okay, get them fixed. You killed it kind of thing. But he doesn't say anything in any sort of negative way about her attitude. Because if it was me, this girl is just a rookie here. Just got here to the main roster not even a year ago. And has that attitude of like going off script. I would have been pissed at her somehow. I would have been like, hey, next time, please stay to the script. Don't do this. Don't go off and do whatever you want for yourself or whatever it is. And you didn't see any kind of like negativity from him to her in any way, shape, or form. Which I thought that was strange to begin with. And I feel like that on top of them not showing the apology didn't make sense to me.
The other reason why I say that I know that this is probably why I think this is staged. This is not the first time that Charlotte's been blindsided by a completely unrelated and unnecessary comment in a promo. We all remember Paige bringing up Reed's death in that promo between Charlotte and Paige. But the difference was Paige was made to publicly apologize for that line. And that line is no longer in the... If you go back and watch that on the network, if you go back and watch it on Peacock or Netflix, wherever, that line is now edited out of the promo. It is no longer in that promo anymore. Because it was an unnecessary line. I guarantee if you go back and watch the Tiffany Stratton promo, that line...
No, they took out the divorce line from the replay later because they mentioned that they uploaded the promo. And when they uploaded the promo on YouTube, at least, I haven't looked at it anywhere else, but at least on YouTube, people were saying, oh, I looked at it, and then that part about the 0-3, and then the Kaiser part was cut off from that whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Plus, I think
so they did do it.
On top of, that, at least on YouTube, it was cut off at one point. I don't know if it still is. But to me, it's like that both of the lines were just out of line. It's like, even Charlotte said, it's like, you're talking to Charlotte, the character. And why bring up her personal life the way it happened? I feel like kind of awkward. I feel like it brought it to be like in such a different way. And then Charlotte said, they say Charlotte's upset, but in every way, shape, or form do you see Charlotte upset whatsoever? Because the next time that we see her, she talks about the Mania match and how like she basically put Tiffany over the way somebody did for her before. And then you don't see her upset about the line. She doesn't mention anything about the line whatsoever. The only time that she mentions she's upset is when the crowd was booing her. Other than that, you don't hear her being upset about anything either.
Yeah, it's that one scene, and she doesn't even seem all that upset about it in that one scene.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But like I said, Charlotte went into depth in episode 3 about Reed's death and how it made her feel and things like that. So I think bringing up Reed isn't necessarily unnecessary here on this topic because of the fact that Charlotte in this documentary talks about Reed. So bringing up the Paige line about Reed, especially when we're talking about Charlotte, having this happen before and how it could really, like that obviously affected her to a much greater degree because it elicited a public apology. And like I said, I think Tiffany's probably sorry. I don't think Tiffany would do that again, given the opportunity, probably, because you'd want to hope. I mean, I try to look at the better side of Tiffany than most people do. I think I give her more passes than most people will nowadays, especially lately. Because you know what? For Ed,
all I have to say now is it's Tiffy time. All I have to say now is it.
Because it's always Tiffy time. Yeah, so that obviously wasn't good. But like I said, I just thought it was very interesting that there's the apology never comes. She's told to apologize, but it never actually happens. And I just think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I think it shows where Charlotte really is on the totem pole of these people. Like, constantly, people screw with Charlotte in these promos. And it's one thing, like, John Cena and CM Punk, to take a more recent example. John Cena and CM Punk went in deep on the last on the Saudi SmackDown before the Saudi show. When Punk came out as Thugonomics CM Punk.
It's Punk Life.
It was indeed Punk Life. But he went in hard and deep on John Cena in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, he came up to John Cena beforehand. Was like, look, I'm going to take some low blows here. Are you okay with it? And John's going to look at him and go, of course I am. Do what you want. Because that's who John Cena is. Because how many years did John Cena do that to other people?
Exactly.
By the way, I still love this Charlotte Tiffany match. I think it's great. I
Actually, like the Charlotte Rhea better than the Charlotte Tiffany.
I agree. The Charlotte Rhea match is vastly better than the Charlotte Tiffany match. But I think that people misunderstand how good this match is because it's a brawl, because it's a fight. It's not the crisp, clean wrestling match that Charlotte Rhea was the year before.
Yeah.
And I believe it's Hurricane Helms who's the producer for this match, who's incredibly ecstatic after the match.
I think it might have been.
It was
no,
I'm sorry, it's TJ.
No,
it's TJ.
TJ Molly and Molly Holly. Yeah,
it's TJ and Molly.
I was like, I know I heard it.
Well, no, because I was trying to think. I'm like, who was the? I'm like, no, because it was Charlotte talking to TJ before the match.
Yeah.
By the way, do you want to talk about the shit discussion between the four guys in Charlotte? We're gonna skip that. Okay.
Yeah, please. That was stupid.
They wasted a lot of time with that discussion too.
Yeah, they did. It was unnecessary.
That's a motley crew too. Like it was Punk, it was Ivar, it was douchebag who has me blocked, Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
And was it Kofi on the outside? I believe it was. I'm almost certain it was Kofi on the outside. Yeah, I think it's Kofi on the outside. That was a weird discussion. I didn't get that. Yeah. This is also where Charlotte talks about how, she hopes Tiffany has a great career coming off of this because of the fact that, somebody did this for her. But again, she doesn't name drop Nikki Bella for whatever reason. Remember that right? Charlotte match. It was so good. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, people still wonder if Tiffany and Charlotte have issues. So I guess that's the same. We also earlier in the show had the Jey Uso stuff, which again, it was fine. But did you feel like they glossed over the Jey Uso stuff?
Yeah, it didn't feel as important as it did with like everything else in the episode here. I feel like they barely cover about him winning, but I like the fact that at least they give us footage from the match and they're like, this is how it ended, and this basically how the rocket really started for him. So it's like I feel like between, I think 4 topics basically that we got on this one, because we had the Tiffany and Charlotte, the Cody Cena, the 3-way, and even the 3-way for the girls, and this was the other thing, and it felt like it one that got the less coverage out of out of the other topics too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I also think that it was cool to see everybody backstage watching the monitor. It was a viewing party for this one because that's how much people backstage love Jey Uso. Kevin Owens sitting front and foremost, even though he's injured and wasn't able to compete at this WrestleMania. I thought it was great that he was there supporting his friends. Sammy was on the other shoulder. Xavier Woods, which on screen they were digging at him the entire road to WrestleMania. It was nice to see Xavier so excited for Jey to get the big win, knowing he was the next match. Did you also surprised that even the people backstage were surprised that Jey won with the submission? Like we talked about it on the WrestleMania post show about how surprising it was that he won with a choke out. And Xavier was like, "Whoa, what? That's it? We're done?" Like
I think it's nice because it shows that they really don't know about how the ending's gonna go. They just know that he's gonna win. They just don't know how it's gonna happen. So those reactions are probably most likely genuine reactions from them seeing the ending. So that's nice to see as well.
No, I agree. And then we get to the triple threat. Night one triple threat. Punk's main event. All right. Do you feel like the Punk Triple H moment before Punk's main event felt a little manufactured, a little forced?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It felt kind of awkward the way it happened, but I like the fact that I think it's Hayes, if I'm not mistaken, that looks at Hunter, goes, "Oh yeah, everybody's nervous, especially Punk being his first main event," and you can see Punk in the corner, and I like the way he looks at him and goes, "You always been main event material. It's just like now you can finally like experience it, but you're that person." He goes, "Thank you for seeing that. That means a lot to me that like you see it too," and when they start going off on giving up the timing for the entrance and everything, it's like it felt kind of awkward at the same time, but I like that Triple H said it to him out loud because I feel like Punk really needed that reassurance of like I've earned this, and basically it's like sorry that it took so long, but you earned this too. And even after the match, I'm like, we know that he doesn't win it, but after the match in itself, after they show everything, having him be so emotional, this is his first main event, it just made me so emotional just thinking about. I love the video package that we got before this match, and I still have it even downloaded on my phone. I listen to it every now and then because I keep thinking about that guy that I watched in ECW before, and just thinking of where he got here now. It took so long for him to get to that spot, but seeing how emotional, how much it meant to him, it meant a lot to me too.
I love the back and forth about whether or not Paul should turn heel, how Paul should turn heel. Michael P.S. Hayes, the producer of this match, loved everything. He said that the crowd bought in to every twist and turn that they had for this. It was a fun look back at this match. It's not my favorite match of WrestleMania weekend. And when Seth Rollins says this will be a match that people never forget, I'm like, sure.
And to me, it's ironic. It's one of my favorite ones, and not only that, but I feel like for them to say, "Oh, we didn't know that was gonna happen." Trust me, a lot of us already thought that Heyman was gonna go out with Punk and leave Seth Rollins at the end of the night. It's like it was. I hate to say it like that, but it was predictable in that aspect of it. And the way that they presented, they're like, "Oh, we don't think that people know that this is gonna happen." I was like, "Oh no, like 90% of us knew this was gonna happen." So
this was the prevailing prediction going into the show.
Yeah, it wasn't like the Cena heel turn. It was the total opposite of it.
So we get to the women triple threat match that opens the night 2 card, and Rhea talks about her panic attack at WrestleMania 40, how she was a nervous wreck, how she was a nutcase. However, this year she's much more normal. She's level-headed. She's ready. She understands, and she says, "I don't know if it's because the 2 girls that I'm working with, the girls that I've worked with for years in NXT. I don't know if it's because of the fact that they're my friends. I don't know if it's the fact that it's a triple threat match and I have less to put on myself, and I can spread the pressure around to 3 people as opposed to it just being me and Charlotte." Jason Jordan and Petey Williams are producing this match, and it's fantastic. This match is great. They don't give us a lot in this. The only big key piece that we get is the Bianca hand injury, where I believe it's Daphne LaShawn again who's in this match, who says that she jammed her fingers, she'll be okay, she's going to continue the match. I agree. This is the match of the entire weekend. This is the best wrestling match of the entire weekend. But again, to everybody who says that this needed to main event one of the 2 nights, I still disagree. I still think they got the 2 main events right at the end of the day. I know the route to get there is insanely stupid and it never should have happened considering neither one of them were Royal Rumble winners. But at the end of the day, I think the two main events were right. I think the Cody Rhodes, John Cena match with John Cena winning number 17 has to be the main event. If Cena's winning 17, it has to main event. Because you can't have that in the beginning of a show.
Yeah.
It overshadows everything.
I disagree in the aspect of like they could have main evented. They just needed to present it as a main event, and I feel like that's the part they really lacked in to begin with. But I feel like if they would have put it as a main event and would have built it up as a main event, it would have been a main event. I feel like as much as what I was gonna say, as much as I love Punk and Rollins and all these and the three-way, I could have done without that being the main event. As much as I love Punk getting his main event, I feel like this was one of those that I could have done without it being a main event. The girls could have main events in one night at least. And this was one of the matches. It could have been this one for sure. Like you said, also mentioning about Rhea. I love the fact that she's like, I don't know if it's because I know these girls for so long and I like how they show them going up in NXT together. It's like we know each other so well that I feel more comfortable with them in that sense of it. But I love the fact that she's like, I'm not as nervous. And even Triple H is like, you're doing great. He's like, start believing in yourself. And it's
get out of your own head.
Yeah, thinking of like somebody like Rhea Ripley having those kind of moments that even she tells herself as much as a superstar that she is in WWE and even mainstream, because she's one of the few ones that people know about outside of WWE. And to think that that's her mindset going into this WrestleMania is just incredible to think about. But again, and just like
just quickly answer comment. No, we don't. Oh. We never sleep. Sorry, go ahead.
I do sometimes. But no, I feel like I'm not saying that they were wrong with the main events they had, because I like the ones that they picked. I understand what Cody and Cena had to main event. I understand what the three-way had to main event. But if you could have built up the storyline between the girls to main event, they could have done that as well. And I feel like they should have done it at the same time. Like I said, it's like I miss when they could have done at least one of the girls' main events in one of the nights. And that's the disappointment that it was for me in WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, I don't think there's any story that they could tell between Rhea, Bianca, and Iyo that makes that match worthy of main eventing over all of the bad blood that you've built all of this time for Rollins, Roman, Punk. There's just so much bad blood between the Paul Heyman thing between Roman and Punk, and the history between Roman and Rollins, and the history between Punk and Rollins. Like, there's just too much there for that not to be a main event of whatever show it's on. It's just I don't know if there's a story you can tell with the women's division in WWE that good that gets bumped out of the main event. It's just hard. We're doing good, Karan. How is AEW Collision going tonight? I believe there's a Collision show going on as we speak. Hopefully everything is going well there. But no, we're doing good. Yes, we don't rarely sleep. This is an odd week to have actually 3 days in a row, so we're gonna take it when we get the opportunity to.
That check better clear.
Talk to the Ogre Lord. It's all about him. After running out of time, we're gonna go ahead and spend the last about 10 minutes of our show talking about John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. This is not the greatest wrestling match in the world. It's a bad wrestling match. However, I will continue to... she does not get a signing bonus as she's been here a while. Ariana might indeed get a singing bonus as I hear her in the background. I don't know if she's singing Taylor Swift or if she's singing Olivia Rodrigo or something. I know those are two of her favorites. So.
Moana.
Oh, it's Moana tonight. Okay. So at least she's on theme with The Rock. She's on theme.
Yes.
No, this isn't the greatest wrestling match in the world, but I have forever and will forever go down dying on this hill that the idea of John Cena's heel turn has been, I'm going to ruin professional wrestling. And the idea that includes, yes, 3 nights in a row, it is indeed a blessing for all of us. I think that ruining wrestling also means that these matches are going to have ruined finishes, that he's going to ruin the enjoyment of the fans. Like, He ruined the finish to Randy Orton match by having R-Truth involved. And, you know, the whole R-Truth thing has been a great ruining of professional wrestling. He ruined the CM Punk thing by making CM Punk wrestle him in Saudi Arabia. So this ruining professional wrestling thing, I think, works on the landscape of even the wrestling match has to be different. It has to be, in a way, bad. None of these matches should be his greatest matches because of the fact that he's not here to have great matches. He's there to win the championship and ruin professional wrestling. Like, I love the idea that it incorporates everything, including the wrestling match.
Yeah, this was the match in itself, like you said, wasn't the greatest match. I do like the fact that after the match he says something along the lines of like, just because the sentence finishes with the word WrestleMania doesn't mean it's the end, because it might end one storyline, but it will continue another one. So there's always something happening. And it's like you said, it's like it wasn't the best match whatsoever. I do like seeing their reactions of like, oh, the crowd is reacting to me, and they say, "Let's go Cena," and Cena sucks, and they're acting like a certain way, and they're basically taking every bit and piece of everything that's happening here. And I also love seeing them in the trucks and in Gorilla going, yeah, pinpoint at this and pinpoint at the championship, or draw a white shirt for the kick that he's about to do, and the detailing that goes behind everything here. I think it's definitely what I love the most about Unreal and overall. But just seeing the those bits and pieces of like, take this shot, point at Cena this way, look at Cody this part, and the detailing that goes behind the scenes for them to get what they need. And when they say, oh, clip this and clip that, because we're gonna use that in the social media parts later, and it basically shows how in the grand scheme of things how big and humongous this is in WWE with the production. And that's, to me, the biggest takeaway from this whole thing.
The one thing I want to talk about with this match is that I love how much time John Cena spent talking about Cody Rhodes and putting over Cody Rhodes in this segment, where he's like, I wanted to make sure that as we're going through everything, that you brushed on it with listening to the fans, but it was more than that, where he was like, every time that Cody almost got the win, I wanted to make sure that there was that audible gasp, like, oh, like he was looking to continue to make sure that Cody Rhodes, no matter what happens, no matter if they're trying to cheer him on or they're excited to see him win number 17, he wanted to make sure that they didn't destroy the Cody Rhodes character and babyface push in the spotlight. And for a guy who's constantly been talking about having a golden shovel, going back to the Roman Reigns promo where he says to Roman, everybody talks about how I have this mythical golden shovel and I use it to bury all of my opponents. It's so fun and interesting to see this John Cena at this point in his career talking about this match after the fact and being like, throughout this match, I was continuing to make sure to listen to the crowd, to make sure that they were invested in my opponent as much as they were invested in either how I did or didn't do. And while it seems silly that would be a key point to this whole show, I think it really does make sense in the grand scheme of John Cena that he knows he needs to leave this business better than when he found it. And after this last run, I think he's going to. Like, he talks about ruining professional wrestling. He's just ruining it for a short time. And when he's all said and done, it's going to be better than when he found it. And the wrestling world is going to miss John Cena. At the end of the day, something unfathomable in 2005 or 2010 in the Cena wins LOL era, we're going to look back and miss John Cena when he's gone. I mean, I've always loved John Cena, but that's because he's born and bred in Massachusetts. So. But, I mean, I think that this show was a fantastically good thing. I would love to have these 1 or 2 a year. I would love to have these every now and then, just like pick a big show and build to it and show me the backstage stuff to build to that show. Maybe it's WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Maybe it's WrestleMania and Survivor Series every year that we do WWE Unreal, where we build to these big, massive shows. But I want more of these because I think that these are really good. Even if we just go back to the 365 documentaries and we include more footage like this. Remember when WWE used to do WWE 365?
And WWE 24.
And 24. Yeah, I would love more like that, where we see more of this stuff incorporated into those shows. Because they kind of did that for a period and then they stopped. And I'm like, we could go back to doing that on Netflix. We could do more of that.
Yeah.
But speaking of things we can do more of, we're going to talk more professional wrestling. Well, not us. We're talked out. But Papa Smokes and Bobby Munson are going to be here to talk all about, I believe it's Championship from Hollywood, I think it is this week. I forget. They're doing another tip to the territory, so they'll be joining us in about 5 minutes or so. So, Astrid, tell the good people where they can find you. Yes, we all miss all the WWE Network content that we don't get anymore. By the way, bring back Table for Three. We talked about it on Raw this week. I believe I heard Michael Cole and whatnot talking about it. Oh, it's Holly Wrestling territory. See, I saw Holly and just assumed it was Hollywood.
No, it was Hollywood. Yeah, it was.
Hollywood Wrestling.
I would say I saw
so was
it. Okay, there you go.
Damn it, Munson, stop talking. Anyways, Astrid, you can go talk now and tell us about good people where they can find you.
So, Twitter, Blue Skies, Astrid Pizarro. Instagram and Threads, Astrid Pizarro 20. My YouTube channel, Astrid Pizarro. And subscribe if you haven't. And hit the like button on the video, too. Your turn. You're muted. What'd you do to yourself?
I have to do it at least once. No, I adore Table for Three. I want that back desperately. It was my favorite WWE Network show. It was Table for Three, and then 24, and then 365. You can find me in all these wonderful places. It really doesn't matter about my content. Focus on our local establishment. Focus on Astrid. We could use the watch hours so we can try to get monetized, so that we can get super chats. Once we can get super chats, you can make me say insanely dumb things for money, which would be fun. You can support the content, financially if you want to, but even if you don't, just going ahead and doing that will let us get the first step to monetization, so we can get that next hurdle, so we can get the full monetization. So if you can go ahead and watch things, even if you just put a playlist on in the background, like, share, subscribe, comment, so these videos get pushed to other people, other wrestling fans. Even if you watch them live, go back after the fact and leave a comment on the YouTube versions. We would greatly appreciate it. We love you all. Our local podcast, our local establishment can be found at all these wonderful places, including OLE Podcast. I've talked way too much for the last 3 days. I need to go rest my voice. So I'm going to be here for Sunday night for SummerSlam. Remember that we got SummerSlam coverage coming this weekend, so make sure you watch it. So support your local independent wrestling. Support Bobby support Papa Smokes in a minute, and I guess Munson too if you have to. Also, go El Asesino! Go El Asesino! Bye!
I am in misery.